Hey everyone, I just want to talk about one of my favorite decks for Yu-Gi-Oh! August 2022 right now. It's Agnisters. They're a really fun, cheap combo deck that goes into their boss monster, the Arrival. Basically a Link 6 Towers. It's really strong. It can be interrupted easily, but we'll go into that in a little. And they have a lot of options if they get interrupted going into the Arrival. So we'll get started here. So the first main the first key card of this deck is going to be a Chi-Chi Agnister. Chi-Chi is basically essential for this deck. You want to play 3. So what Chi-Chi says is that when he's normal or special summon, you get to search an Agnister monster, or a level 4 lower Agnister. It's very important to continue your combos. Even if he's like the only monster in your hand, you could get some pretty good combos going off. His grave effect says that you could banish him to destroy one of your Agnister monsters. That's more for the Agnister Phoenix. We don't play that in this deck. It is a good option, but I'll show you later some cards I replace it with. But very important for the deck, you do want to play 3. And the next card, that's essentially the second key to this deck, but not as important, is Pickery Agnister. So when he's normal or special summon, Pickery will search a AI spell or trap card. This is very versatile. Depending on your starting hand, you could go for their either 2 of their Monster Reborns. You could go for their draw 3. If you need to go for the field spell, but the Link 1 covers that, but it's still an option. And you could even go for AI Meet You, their searcher for the deck. And we'll go into that card later, but Pickery is very versatile on searching the spells and traps. His on-field effect says you could target one monster you control, make it level 4, or one Agnes or monster you control, and that doesn't come up too often, but it still helps a lot going into the Light Dragon, which we do play in this deck. But Pickery, basically the second best card in this deck. The next monster we play is 2 Doyon Agnisters. You could play 1 if you want to. I prefer 2, just it helps a lot more with recycling your resources. So if he's normal or special summoned, you can add to your hand 1 Agnister monster from the graveyard, and it's really good. We'll go into some monsters that could kind of go with him, but it just lets you recycle the guys that can special summon themselves from the hand. You recycle Pickery for the spell searching effect, and Chi-Chi for the monster searching effect. You most likely will have to wait for your next turn if you already activate these effects, but it's still pretty good. And then if he's used for a Link summon, you can bring back from the graveyard and Agnes or Spell or Trap. Again, similar situation, it'll help a lot more on your next turn because most likely you've already activated these spells and traps, but it's great to be able to get recycle some of your key cards to go into more plays your next turn. The next card we'll talk about is Buru Agnister. Buru is, for the most part, needed in this deck. He's a level 3 tuner that lets you, if he's normal or special summon, you can send to the graveyard from your deck Agnes or monster. And there's some other targets for Buru we'll get into later, but Doyon's a great option. And then if he's used for a synchro summon of a cyberse synchro monster, you can special summon the other material used for that summon, so it helps a lot with link climbing, and overall a great card for the deck. The next card we'll talk about is Doshin Agnister. I don't see a lot of people play this card, but personally I love it. Mainly for summoning effects. Just have more targets for the field spell, and if he's in the hand, he can special summon himself if you have another Agnister monster on the field. And if you have a Link monster in the graveyard, you can return to the extra deck and then search the fusion spell. We don't play the fusion in this deck, but if you want to, that's a good option, or cycle. And then we'll get into the AI meet you later, but he's a great searcher. Alright, he's a good target to be searched with that spell, since we play Transcode Talker in this deck. The next card I like to show you is Hayari Agnister. I also like him, but again, we use him for another target for the field spell. He can also be special summoned from the hand if you have an Agnister monster. His on-field effect's not the best for this deck. We don't play the ritual monster, but you could tribute one cyberse monster at a level 5 or higher Agnister monster from your deck to your hand. It's like I said, the ritual is pretty good. We don't play in this deck though, and I wouldn't worry too much about it. But you can search some other cards, but again, not really needed. That effect's not really needed. It's mainly just for the special summoning. We do play one Kachari Agnister. His on-field effect's pretty good. It protects your monsters from card effect destruction once per turn each turn. If you could keep him on the field, awesome, but mainly we just use him as a to continue combos if we need him, because he could target one cyberse on the field, special summon himself, and then if he's used, if he's sent from the field to the graveyard, you could target one of your monsters. It's unaffected by card effects till the end of the turn. That effect doesn't come up too often, but it's great when it does. We play one Damari Agnister. Damari from the hand will, if one of your Agnisters is attacked by an opponent's monster, you can special summon him and negate the attack. Then if you control the levels, the Link 6 monster, you can either banish him from the field or graveyard to negate a monster or spell or trap effect. Just a great negate. He's a great target for Buru. I only do play one of him though, just because it could get a little bricky if you play more than one, but he's just a great negate altogether. For tech cards, I play two code generators. Honestly, you could take these out if you want to. I prefer it just because we play enough code talkers in the deck, but what his effect is if he's in the hand, you can use him as material for summoning a code talker from the extra deck. It doesn't come up too often, but if you get interrupted into a rival, you can start going to the transcode talker or decode talker heat soul, and it just helps continue plays if you need it. We don't really use his other effects, mainly because we don't normal summon him to be able to add him back to hand, and sending to the graveyard, we kind of already got that covered with Buru. We can still send stuff to the grave for Doyon's effect, but it's not really necessary. But I still do like playing at least two of them just to get some code talkers on the field. For hand trap monsters, we play two Ash Blossoms, and honestly, you can play whatever hand traps you want in this deck. I just like I just like Ash Blossom just to stop adding to hand effects. Just generically a great card. And that's it for our monsters. We'll be or for the main deck monsters, we'll be going into our spells next, and we play a lot of spells in this deck. So for spells, we play 3 Ignister AI land. And Ignister AI land is essential for this deck. It's basically what makes the deck function. So Ignister AI land, while it's on the field and you have no monsters in the main monster zone, You can special summon an Agnes or monster, but you can only special summon an Agnes or monster with that attribute once per turn. So as long as your monster zone is clear, you can keep summoning guys with different attributes. So let's say I summon a Chi-Chi, I link him away. I can now, if I have search Pickery with him, special summon Pickery, link them away. If I had another one, like Doyon or even Buru in my hand, use a field spell, special summon them. It's great for this deck. It's the reason why you're able to link climb so well. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish a Agnes or monster from your grave, and you could just reset the card. So it has great recovery. You still want to play 3, but it's an amazing card and it's essential to this deck. Next we play 3 AI Meet You. This card's awesome for the deck also. You'll see their spells are just great for this deck. AI Meet You says you reveal a cyberse monster from your extra deck with 2,300 attack. It can also be for your hand, but that's more for the ritual monster. We don't play it, but so you can reveal either your Agnes or monsters from the extra deck, or you can reveal some of the code talkers that we do play, which I'll show you. And you search the same Agnes or with that attribute. If you don't summon that monster that's revealed, you do get burned for 2,300, but honestly, I wouldn't worry too much, especially going first. Just, you want to get your board set up right there, and then if you get burned, no big deal. You got your board set up already. The next card we play is 3 AI Idol Reborns. Honestly, you could probably put this to 2 or even 1, but it's a quick effect. You can target 1 Agnes or monster in your graveyard, special summon this, so just a monster reborn. And its grave effect's not great, but it's still a decent option if oh, my bad. Also, you can't special summon any other monsters after this except cyberse, but we only play cyberse in this deck besides Ash Blossom, which we're not going to be summoning, so no big deal. If when attack is declared involving 2 monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard and 1 card from your hand. Then target 1 AI spell or trap card that is banished or in your graveyard. Except this one, add that card to your hand. That doesn't really come up too often, especially when we got Doyon, who recycles spells and traps. So I wouldn't worry too much about that effect, but if you need to use it, you got it. We play 2 Fighting Spirits, so it's another monster reborn for the deck. And so you target Agnes from the graveyard, special summon it. This grave effect is much better than Idol Reborn. It says if Agnes or monsters you control with 2,300 or more attack would be destroyed by a card effect, you could banish this card from your graveyard instead. If this card gets banished, you can activate this effect. All Agnes or monsters you control with 2,300 or more attack cannot be destroyed by battle. You can activate that once per turn. That is amazing. While the boss monster is unaffected by card effects, if you got another Agnes or 2,300 on the field, you could banish it. And now, if it would have something that could beat over the boss monster, they're going to have to wait at least till their next turn, but by then you most likely will have an answer. This is a really good card. We play 1 AI Contact. Pretty good card, not the best. If you have Ignister AI land on the field and a copy in your hand, you can reveal the copy in your hand. And if this effect goes off, you put it on the bottom, then draw 3 cards. Just great getting more resources that you may need. AI Contact could be recycled by Doyon to get more draws your next turn. Just a You only want to play one though, just because you're going to, it could be searched by peakery, and I wouldn't even worry too much about it, but it's great if you could get it off. We play 3 Silent Minings. Pretty good card for the deck. You discard a card, add a level 4 or lower cyberse monster from your deck to the hand. Just more searching to be able to find the monsters we need. We play 3 Forbidden Chalices. Honestly, you could replace these with effect veilers if you want. I like them though, just to be able to, if I go second, I can negate their monsters. Or at least bait negates and then do the combos I want to do. So you just target a monster on the field until it gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated until the end of the turn. Just a good negate. Call by the Grave, I love. You target a monster in your graveyard, in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, till the end of the next turn, its effects are negated. It's great. You don't want to get Ash Blossom. You're gonna want to do your best to survive, and it just helps you make sure you get to your plays. And for our last spell, we play Monster Reborn. Just special summon the monster from either graveyard. Again, just help with more link plays. Great card. Not really needed, but I prefer it. One spell I will say, if you're able to get it, is Crossout Designator. It just helps protect your deck from getting negated or whatever interruptions that may come during your plays. But that's it for the spells. Clean this up. And we only play 3 traps. Again, this is optional, but I play 3 imperms. Just get some negates on the in the deck. If they're going first, it's in your hand. Just get some negates on going. Yeah, but these are optional. These aren't necessary. I just like them. And then obviously, if it's set and then activated, that zone is negated until the end of the turn. Just I like it a lot, but you don't need to play that. So we'll get into the monsters now, or the extra deck monsters. So you're gonna want, I play 2 Dark Infant Agnisters. You can play 3 if you want. I prefer 2 in case the first one gets negated. I could go into the second one later. Because if you have to go into the third one, most likely you're not gonna be winning. But if Dark Infant is a special summon from the extra deck, you can search AI land. So if it's not in your hand, summon whatever Agnes or monster in your hand. Hopefully it's Chi-Chi, but if it's Peakery or whatever, just link into him, search the field spell, and you'll be able to get your combo started. We'll explain the full combo of him in a minute, but if another Agnes or monster, or cyberse monster, 2300 attack activates his effect, quick effect, you can move him from in the main monster zone to the left and then change his attribute. And we'll explain that combo when we get to it, but it really helps the deck out a lot. We play 1 Link Spider, mainly for the tokens that are created by the boss monster, just to go into other effect. We could link them off and to go into other effect monsters or link monsters. Also, if someone activates Nibiru, it's not the end of the world. You could continue your combos into a slightly smaller boss, but it just helps. We play 1 Link Krieg Bow. Not necessary. His second effect's okay. You tribute 1 Agnes or monster that was summoned from the extra deck. I think you can special summon this card. Not really needed. It could come up, but his first effect is if you're going against traps, if your opponent activates a trap card, quick effect, tribute this card. That card's effect negate the card's effect, and if you do, banish this card, or banish it. Again, it's pretty good. It's more against if you're playing against a trap deck, but not necessary needed, but I like it. Splash Mage, I would say play 2 if you can. Right now I'm playing 1. I do need to get a second copy, but I'm not too worried. So you could target 1 cyberse monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense position, but its effects are negated. So great card. It helps you continue your combos. So you use Buru, send a monster to the graveyard, probably Doyon. Use Splash Mage, again back, Synchro Summon, and then continue your link plays from there. Really good card for the deck. We play 1 cyberse Wicked. If you don't have a good way of searching Buru at the moment, you can summon Wicked, summon whoever to one of the zones he points to, then banish a cyberse monster from your grave. Yeah, it's pretty good. It just lets you search Buru. But if you already have Buru in your hand, you don't need to go into this then. But usually I'd banish a Chi-Chi. It just depends on who is summoned first, or who you normal summon, or yeah, whose effect already went off, who you normal summon. Did you use the field spell for a Chi-Chi, or did you not? Yeah, it just depends, but usually I just banish a Chi-Chi. But great card to search Buru. I play 1 Security Dragon, not really needed, but I like it. Once per turn, if this card is co-linked, you could target 1 monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. So if a monster is protected by battle or effect destruction, you know, you could bounce instead. Not the best card in the world, but it's pretty fun. I like him. Update Jammer, again, it's more of an optional, but once per battle, during damage calculation, if a cyberse monster battles, quick effect, you can activate this effect. Negate all other card effects on the field till the end of the damage step. Yeah, damages original monster for attack and defense for calculation. Opponent monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. Inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. If this card sends to the graveyard as link material, the link monster can make a second attack during each battle phase. So that comes up more for access code talker. You know, it comes up for other people if it needs to, but you know, just optional, not needed, but it's nice. Dark Templar, we play 1 of him. You could probably play 2 of him, but you really only need 1. This is essentially what makes the deck work. What you need to go into. So if someone special summons to one of his zones he points to, you can special summon cyberse monster or Agnes or monsters from your graveyard to the zones he points to. So how he works for Dark Infant is, let's say you want to play him in the right column zone, so you could be able to move Dark Infant. And so let's say I use the Monster Reborn, Dark Infant here in his left, bottom left zone. Chainlink 1, he activates his effect to special summon guys. Chainlink 2, you move him over to the next zone. You change his attribute to Divine because there's no Divine Agnister, so you don't have to worry about that for the boss monster when we talk about him. And now you can special summon 3 monsters to his zones, and that's really good. But his other effect is if he destroys a opponent's monster by battle, special summon 1 cyberse monsters from your graveyard. That's a really good effect also because some of the monsters can special summon the other guys from the graveyard just to help do a 1-turn kill, and that helps a lot. We play 1 transcode talker. So he needs 2 effect monsters at least, and he can special summon a link monster from the graveyard to a zone he points to. If they're co-linked, they gain. They both gain 500, and my bad, sorry. And then he also, I believe he protects him. Yeah, also your opponent cannot target any of those cards with card effects. So the guy he points to, they can't target them with card effects. Pretty good protection, just great to continue link plays. Really fun. Deco Talker, Heat Soul, awesome card. So this is what you could replace him with. Agnes or Phoenix if you need to, but I prefer him because he meets the requirements for AI Meet You, 2300 attack, fire attribute, so I just prefer playing him over. So he gains 500 attack for each monster he points to, so if these two are pointing, he's going to gain like 1000 attack from transcode and from his own effect. Quick effect, you could pay 1000 life points, draw a card. And that's great. You get extra draw on your turn. If he's still on the board for your opponent, you could get another draw. If your life points are 2,000 or less, you could apply this effect. Banish this card from the field. If you do special summon 1 Link 3 or lower cyberse monsters from your extra deck, except him. That effect doesn't come up too often. It can if you want to use it, but I'm not worried about that effect. But it's still good as an option. We play 1 Wing Pegasus Agnister. So this is the synchro I play. So once per turn, you could pop spells and trap cards your opponent controls up to the number of Agnisters you control. So maybe you could do this 1 or 2 times, or you could pop 1 or 2 cards just depending on where you are in the combo. Not the most needed, but it helps clear some stuff. And then the main reason why you want to play him is when he's on the field or the graveyard. And one of your cards you control is destroyed by a battle or opponent's card effect. You could banish him and then target 1 card your opponent controls, shuffle it back into the deck. Awesome effect. If they get around something that you didn't want them to, just interrupt them as best as you can. We play 1 Light Dragon. You don't need to play him. I love him. But you can, it says if monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by card effect, detach 1 material from this card instead, so it helps protect them. And then his other 2 effects say you could detach 1 material from this card, pop as many monsters as Agnisters you control, so similar to Wing Pegasus, but destroys monsters. And then if another cyberse monster you control inflicts damage to your opponent, you can special summon 1 Link monster from your graveyard. So similar to Dark Templar, you could just get more guys on your field to help do more damage. Really great. I love him. Play 1 Access Code, just generic Link form monster that's really strong. Target 1 monster, 1 Link monster used for a summon. He gains 1000 for each Link arrows he has. Most likely it'll be a Link 3, but you can also use a Link 2. So like 3000 for or 2000 boost to him. And then you could banish either on the field or in the graveyard cyberse or just a Link monster, my bad. From your graveyard, as long as they're different attributes, and then pop a card. And then also his summon effect, and that cannot be responded to. Great effect. You need to clear the board or finish the game. And then if Update Jammer is used for a summon, he gets a second attack. It's just awesome effect. And as you see, we play a lot of Link monsters, so you have a lot of options to just destroy stuff. And then finally, the main boss of this deck, the Arrival, cyberse Agnister. So he gains 1000 attack for each monster used to summon him. He needs 3 or more monsters with different attributes, so that's why I was saying use turn Dark Infant to Divine typing just to help get different attributes for him. And then he's unaffected by all card effects. And then once per turn, unfortunately, this isn't a quick effect. This is more of it's an okay effect. You could pop 1 monster on either field. So if you need to get rid of something on your field, you could do that. And then you make a cyberse token. level 1/0/0 dark cyberse token to a zone he points to. Not perfect of a boss monster, but he's going to be at the bare minimum. He's going to be 4,000, or you could even get him up to 6,000. And it's going to be hard for people to get around him. The only way they can is either kaiju, spear, lava golem, or just be able to run into him. But they're going to have to figure out their game plan before you go in for the win of this guy. But that's it for the deck. Yeah. Again, not the best deck right now in this format, and obviously with some of the more hand trap stuff, you can replace with whatever you want. Like I said earlier, you definitely want to try to get crossout designator for this deck just to stop any interruptions that may come your way during your link climbing, because you really want to get into your boss monsters as soon as you can with no interruptions. But yeah, that's about it. And this is a really fun deck, and for the most part, it's pretty cheap. You can replace some of these guys like Access Code Talker. He's not needed, he just helps, but for the most part, a lot of this deck is very cheap. And like I said, even with hand traps, very cheap. You don't have to have the most expensive hand traps, but it's a great combo deck, showing off cyberse, and it's always been one of my favorites ever since they came out. But thank you for watching, and have a great day.